Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is looking at an essay that I've taken from Unit 6 on human resource management, and it's taken from this section here on improving employee-employer relations and looking at involvement in decision making. So the question that I have asked myself is discuss the extent to which employee involvement in decision making would improve human resource performance in all organisations. Now, I haven't got a case study with this one, but it is a valuable question to look at because it's one of these all businesses type questions, particularly relevant for A-level, but certainly the knowledge, the 25 mark questions in paper 1 at A-level, but certainly the knowledge in here will help AS students as well. So in terms of breaking down the question, it sometimes helps to look at the instruction, the context and the focus, so I know exactly what the question is asking me. So in this case, the question is discuss. That means the instruction, is discuss. That's a command word that makes me know that I need to come to some sort of judgment, evaluation, conclusion. The context in this question is all organisations. So I need to be focusing on, I need to give some examples of business scenarios, basically, in which employee involvement would improve human resource performance, and to get a balanced argument I also need to think about when it might not improve human resource performance. And what's the focus of the question? Well, the focus of the question is the knowledge that I need. So I need to know a little bit about employee involvement in decision making, and I also need to know exactly what HR performance is. And I do plan my essays before I start. I've been writing business essays for about 20 years. I still plan them, and it's important for you to do so. So I tend to write my plans on paper just because I think a little bit better on paper than I do electronically. So I do have a bullet point plan written here next to me that I've referred to as I've been writing the essay. But I also like to think about what my gut instinct is, and as soon as I see this question, my gut instinct is employee involvement will improve human resource performance because of its impact on motivation. That's basically where I'm going to go with the essay. My bullet point plan, put together very quickly, just reminded me of some of the things that I want to talk about in each paragraph. But the examiner's reports go on about how a good essay has, a clear conclusion from the beginning, and that conclusion, the student has worked towards that throughout the essay. So let's have a look at how I've put that together as an essay. So I've started off by showing the examiner that I know exactly what human resource performance is. It can be measured by labour productivity, staff turnover, and employee cost as a percentage of turnover. These are all listed on the specification. That's my basic knowledge that I need to know. Now, just a little bit of signposting here to the examiner that this is the shape that my essay is going to take. Maslow and Herzberg will both link employee involvement to increases in motivation and improved performance. Well, let's see how the essay develops this basic idea. So employee involvement in decision making could improve motivation and therefore increase labour productivity and reduce turnover. So this is a statement at the beginning of my paragraph. It shows the examiner that I'm focused on the question, which is involvement in decision making and improving human resource performance, i.e. increasing labour productivity and reducing, I should probably put staff turnover. Scans a bit better than labour turnover because I've used labour there, and reduce staff turnover. So let's have a look at how I try and back that up. Well, whenever I mention motivation, it's always a good idea to bring in a theorist or two if I can. Maslow would suggest that involving employees in making decisions would help to fulfill their esteem needs, as they would feel their opinion is valued by management. And Herzberg may suggest that employee involvement improves the nature of work, i.e. makes it more interesting, and would categorise employee involvement as a motivator. So here I've developed these points that I've made about improving motivation, increasing productivity and reducing staff turnover. Encouraging employees to participate in decision making may also help to reduce the chance of industrial action occurring. would be highly detrimental to labour productivity. Okay, so this is, mentioning trade unions, work councils, all from this part of the specification. This shows I have a good knowledge of employee involvement. However, and I've linked it back to HR performance, of course, by linking it to labour productivity. However, employees need to be given the skills and confidence to make them effective decision makers, and this is most likely to occur in organisations with highly skilled staff or those that have democratic leadership styles where employees are used to being consulted. So this final paragraph here answers the question. Okay, would it improve human resource performance in all organisations? Well, it's most likely to be successful when staff are trained and they're used to a democratic leadership style and being consulted. So that's the answer. Would it work in all organisations? Well, it's going to be most effective when we've got highly skilled staff who have been trained to make decisions and when they're used to making decisions. So that's when employee involvement in decision making will be most successful. So hopefully you can see that I've linked it back to the question and addressed this really important bit of the question about all organisations. Okay, so the other side of the argument, why might employee involvement in decision making not improve performance? However, some employees may lack the skills or desire to be consulted when making strategic decisions. Many organisations, like large retailers, may employ significant numbers of part-time or temporary staff who prefer an autocratic style of leadership, as their priority is earning money rather than engaging in decision-making. In this case, participating in decision-making would take them away from their responsibilities, potentially reducing their output and affecting their productivity. So I've built a bit of a chain of argument here, looking at how in some organisations that use a lot of part-time or temporary staff, those employees like to be told what to do when they're at work. That helps to keep them efficient, effective, and maybe, if you're a student or something like that, summer worker, you're not too worried about being engaged in decision making. You want to turn up, you want to earn your money and go home. And that's basically the argument that I'm making here. It could even make some employees feel stressed and increase labour turnover, so clearly linking to HR performance. Some organisations are in a crisis and staff look to the management for guidance and direction. Employees in this case might prefer management to take quick, indecisive action and allow the staff to focus on increasing their productivity. So again, I've tried to give a couple of examples here addressing this all organisations part of the question. I've said that, well, will it work in all organisations? Well, some organisations that employ part-time temporary staff, maybe not. And also when there's a crisis on and the staff want to be guided, well, let the management take quick and decisive action, and the staff can then focus on their day job, which will improve HR performance. So now I need to conclude the essay, and I find a good structure. Answer, support. If you can find a problem and a solution, then that's great, but what we're really aiming for is to show some balance in this conclusion, which is one of the descriptors of a top mark answer. So in conclusion, I believe that companies that have trained their staff with the skills to participate in decision making would see increases in motivation and therefore higher labour productivity and staff turnover. So I've kind of answered and supported the question in that sentence. Okay, it's companies that have trained their employees, they're going to see increases in motivation and therefore higher productivity and staff turnover. So I've addressed the all businesses. I've taught in all organisations. Will it benefit all businesses? Well, it will benefit those that have trained their employees with the skills to do so. And I've supported it, why it's going to increase motivation. And I've linked it to human resource performance by mentioning productivity and staff turnover. So hopefully I'm focused on the question. Okay, so let's try and get a bit of balance or a problem. However, in organisations that employ a lot of part-time or temporary staff, involved in decisions employees may be time consuming and increase the stress of those employees. Well, what's my solution? Or an overall kind of it depends. Therefore, organisations should consider carefully which employees they consult with and on what decisions. So hopefully there you can see how I've addressed all businesses, all organisations part of this question, and it's helped you to revise employee involvement. Also using these models to back up what I'm saying on motivation. So hopefully you've got a few benefits from watching this video.